What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. The Iron Duke speaks. Today is Wednesday, the very first day of Masters Nationals. Here we are in beautiful Pittsburgh, PA. Gary Udit, Mr. Jim Mannion have done a fantastic job. Today was bikini and women's bodybuilding. And let me tell you, stacked lineups there. Lots of IFBB Pro League Pro cards were given out to people that were well deserving and came to Pittsburgh to fight, to battle, and they emerged victorious. Also, a lot of great physiques in the top 5, top 3 category. I mean, the judges have their work cut out for them. I could never be a judge. I'd be like, okay, guys, I need like another week or two. Get back to me. You know what I mean? These guys are like, they move athletes around. They're seeing all the angles, the lights. You couldn't ask for better lights, a better stage. It is the most comfortable show in the NPC, in my humble opinion. The Sheraton right there has got it all. A beautiful hotel. The contest is right in the hotel. There's catering. There's a beautiful restaurant. I mean, it's just centrally located. It's fantastic. Now, one thing I do want to talk about this past Tuesday night, which was fantastic. Yesterday, Chris Griffin and Big Mike Cox did a stellar show. And their show is great because they talk about everything that's going on in the world of the NPC and the IFBB Pro League, cutting edge to the minute. I mean, it's so up to date. It's amazing. And after, there was a bonus interview with IFBB Pro League bikini superstar Sean Hector Lewis. And Chris the Goon Griffin did a fantastic job there. And Big Mike Cox also did a fantastic job making sure that the text is, they stayed great. The texting area there was great. The good questions were coming in. And, it was a group effort, and they all did a fantastic job. And I actually saw Sean Hector Lewis today, and she loved the interview. And we did a small interview for Strength Addicts. And, I got to be honest with you, it's just awesome because whenever you can land a big interview like that and the guest is so happy and enjoyed the interview, it speaks volumes about the interviewers, it speaks volumes about the show, and it speaks volumes about where this show was presented, IronMagLabs.com. So remember, as with any of our shows, if you want to watch the replay, head over to IronMag.com. Also, go to Facebook.com/IronMagLabs to see all of our live shows and all of our shows on replays as well. Now, this is a really big week because a lot of people, of course, are talking about the retirement of women's physique Olympia, Juliana Malacarne. Now, Juliana has been on the top spot there for quite some time. And if you really think about it, women's physique is still a relatively new division, and it's only had 2 Olympia champions. DLB, Dana Lynn Bailey, who was the inaugural women's physique champion, and then Juliana Malacarne. So it's a very interesting and exciting time for the world of women's physique because now there's going to be a new champion, and the big question is, what direction will the division go in? Who will this champion be? Will it be an outspoken champion? Will it be a low-key champion? There's a lot of and that's cool. It's cool because there's mystery, and it's also cool that Juliana's going to go out on top. I always think that there's nothing wrong with going out with a fight. Ronnie Coleman went out with a fight. Jay Cutler went out with a fight. But then you have other folks that retired, with the title. Your Lee Haney's, for example. Okay, possibly Phil Heath. Arnold. So that's also, I think, very cool for the legacy. But there's no harm in putting up a good fight, and there's no harm in coming back and trying to regain the title. It's only been done once by Jay Cutler in 2009. But we've had Ronnie Coleman give it a shot. We've seen Frank Zane try it, I think, as much as 3 times. And so that is also very noble. But there's a certain point in time when I feel like athletes at that upper level, and we're talking about the very best in a division at the IFBB Pro League level, which is, listen, guys, there's a lot of other federations out there, and they're not worth the paper they're printed on. Just my humble opinion. The IFBB Pro League is where the very best in the world come to compete, and it's the only road to the Mr. Olympia. That 1 point alone seals the deal. It's the only road to the Mr. Olympia. The Mr. Olympia is the unanimous, uncontested, only title in any of those divisions that matters. Whether it's bodybuilding, physique, classic physique, fitness, figure, bikini, it's the only. In those divisions, in basketball, the Mr. Olympia might not mean anything, but in physique-based sports, the Mr. Olympia is the most elevated, highest, most distinguished, most respected title to have. And, whichever man or woman holds that title in their respective division is the uncontested best in the world. And so the IFBB Pro League is the only road to there. Also, speaking of the IFBB Pro League, Brazil, the Arnold Classic Brazil is now IFBB Pro League. And that means all of South America is IFBB Pro League, at least as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? We've got the flagship in Columbus. We've got, the Arnold in Australia, which is an amazing event. And now Brazil, South America. So that's absolutely fantastic. There's no doubt in my mind that the IFBB Pro League will annihilate, not defeat, not edge out, but annihilate anyone that gets in their way. Why? It's not about, intimidation. It's not about negativity. It's not about any of that stuff. It's simply put, the NPC model is the greatest model. It's the model that has grown bodybuilding here in the United States. It's the model that will grow bodybuilding abroad. We are exporting, we collectively, in spirit, are exporting the NPC model around the world. So, I mean, if you'd rather have, a lump of gold or a lump of shit, I mean, it's obviously which one you're going to pick. Yeah, I mean, NPC is the way to go. And so Brazil now joins the IFBB Pro League Arnold Classic, and that's fantastic. Now, aside from Juliana's retirement, still a lot of talk about Flex Lewis. I went on record with my sources that Flex Lewis, I hope I didn't say Flex Wheeler, I get him confused sometimes, Flex, but Flex Lewis was retiring from bodybuilding. Now, some people came back and said, oh, Christian, you don't know what you're talking about. He's merely retiring from the 212. He's going to the open. No, my sources insist that he is done. And, winning so many of these Olympia Showdown, 212 Olympia Showdown titles, what does he have left to prove? He's in a very similar situation to Lee Haney, who, in 1991 won his 8th Olympia. And again, no disrespect to the Shadow Dorian Yates, but Lee Haney didn't see any writing on the wall. Lee Haney wasn't going to be losing to Dorian in 92, 93, or 94. I like Dorian a lot, but come on, let's get real here. If you were to ask me who was the greatest Mr. Olympia of all time, I would say the totally awesome Lee Haney. And I would say that including, Ronnie in the equation, Arnold in the equation. I mean, we're speaking strictly physiques, ambassadorial qualities. And yes, being in movies is great and being in politics is great, but in terms of ambassadorial qualities in the sense of strictly bodybuilding, so much so that Lee was picked by the President of the United States at the time to be on the United States Fitness Council, it speaks volumes. A man of God, a family man, someone that never spoke about, damaging topics, and someone that's always been involved in the sport. I mean, Lee Haney to me, and all those things aside, the physique alone. I mean, let's quit with the talk and let's see the actions. Nobody could touch Lee Haney, even though that one Olympia where he came in 20 or 30 pounds lighter. He still smoked everybody. I mean, I know that there's people say, oh, it was a close second. It was a close second. That's fine. But Lee Haney was first, and that's all that matters. Whoever walks away with the Sandow, that's Mr. Olympia. That's all that matters, at least to me. But I have to say, honestly, that, Flex will probably go into this year's 212. He'll take another win, more than likely, and that will be it. I mean, for him could he go into the open and be competitive? Absolutely. You're talking about the greatest 212 bodybuilder in the world 6 times straight. Okay? So absolutely, he could go into the open and be competitive. Could he even get up to stand next to Phil Heath? Of course he could. But I feel like, again, it's a question of legacy, and it's a question of really doing right by himself. And this is a man that probably wants to, have a family, has a family, and wants to spend time with that family, and wants to spend time with friends, and maybe wants to, start a new chapter of his life in the fitness industry, very possibly as well. You know what I mean? But, at some point, when you have established such a high benchmark, it's okay to retire, and it's most especially okay to retire while you're on top. I was a huge Boston Celtics fan. You know what I mean? I used to love Robert Parrish, Larry Bird, and Kevin McHale, and I've probably used this example 100 million times. But Kevin McHale and Larry Bird, they retired on top. Robert Parrish, on the other hand, he played at least a good 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years more than he should have. And it got to the point where he was starting to become a second and a third string center. And, he was basically warming the bench. And he got traded around so many times that by the time he did retire, I don't think it made much of anything because, you know, he didn't get his jersey retired in the Boston Garden. He didn't have like the whole city shut down. He was basically in a city he didn't know as a third string player that had really no importance and nobody gave a shit basically. And so that what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you are the best at something, you know, and you're the best at something uncontested. I mean, you could win one, and then maybe they could say, well, you know, everybody else was off, or you got lucky. You don't get lucky, you know, 6 times straight and possibly 7 times straight if he retires this year. That's not luck. That's mastery. That's dominance, and that is basically legendary, living legend status. Why would you want to, you know, then go to the Open where even if you were to place 5th, that would still not be the best. It would be very admirable. It'd be very respectable. It'd be like, oh my God, you know, but it would not be the best. So to me, honestly, I think he's making the right move, and I insist, according to my sources, that he is retiring from bodybuilding, competitive professional bodybuilding competition. Now, the other thing about the 212 that I find to be very interesting is Hadi Choopan from Iran not being able to come to the United States. Again, we're not talking about federation issues. We're not talking about qualification issues. We're speaking about two governments, the United States and Iran, who, quite frankly, are basically, you know, on the worst possible diplomatic terms you can imagine. President Trump even showed that lunatic Kim Jong-un his car. He was like, hey, bro, this is my car. You know what I mean? See? And what's up? And pat him on the back and call him a smart man. And you know, and Kim's there talking about it. He's like, yeah, man, like maybe we could hang out sometime, you know, possibly. I don't know. But Iran, they don't even have that. I mean, we have probably warmer relations with North Korea, which is run by a psycho, than we have with Iran. So, again, I mean, getting a visa to a bodybuilding show, even if it is the Mr. Olympia, which is the greatest show in bodybuilding, probably doesn't do much to expedite his visa. He could be coming here for the, you know, the NFL Super Bowl. The NFL Super Bowl. Wow, I really sound like I'm not from the United States. I sound like, you know, like a spy. Yes, the NFL football championships or something. No, but even if it was like the Super Bowl or the World Series or any sporting event, hell, it might even be an educational thing. It might be a political thing. It's just the relations are so strained that, I mean, unfortunately, he has issues coming here. Nicholas V, who, like Chris Sagoon Griffin, I am not even going to try to pronounce his last name. It's a fine last name. I don't want to butcher it. Nicholas V, word is going to Tampa. Now, if he qualifies in Tampa and he goes to the 212 Olympia, that's going to be very, very interesting. You know what I mean? And I think Derek Lunsford. I mean, Derek Lunsford is always, I mean, you know, not always, I should say a lot of times on Beast Coast Live. I've interviewed Derek twice. Once at the Kentucky Muscle and once at somewhere else in Louisville. And he is a fantastic athlete. And he even did an intro for me when I was at MD for Noble Weekly. So, I mean, I think he's a fantastic athlete. You know, gets Rookie of the Year. You know, he's Mr. USA, top 5 pro debut in Tampa. You know what I mean? Does well on, you know, I mean, he's just, you know, structurally flawless and a hard worker. The only thing working against him is the fact that maybe he doesn't have the best muscle maturity yet. I mean, I don't know how old he is. I don't know if he can even buy a beer legally, but I mean, he's really young, and he's definitely someone to look for. I mean, he might even be an heir, as some have said, to the 212 throne. It's very, very possible. If I was a betting man, I would certainly bet on him. So I have to tell you, but I won't be betting on Sean Roden. I love Sean Roden, but I owed Ron Harris like several drinks already. But I still think Sean Roden in the Open is actually, you know, I would bet on him because I really like Sean Roden. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, but I really like him. But I will say, if anyone is going to defeat Phil the Gift Heath in the 2018 Mr. Olympia, especially if Phil comes a little bit off, it's going to be Dexter Jackson. It's not going to be Big Ramy, who insists on coming in as big as he does and not as dialed in as he should be. Ramy, I've met you several times. We did an interview at Mr. Jim Mannion's Pittsburgh Pro. You're a great guy. I like you a lot. Please come in leaner and come in tighter. That's more important than coming in bigger, okay? Now, granted, I'm saying this to the second best bodybuilder in the world. Some bald guy sitting in a hotel room maybe doesn't really amount to that much influence, but Big Ramy could be Mr. Olympia. What he has to do, a lot of times people say, well, you have to gain here. No, what he has to do is he's got to lose weight. He's got to come in lighter and tighter and more ripped, especially in the hams and the glutes and the ham and glute tie-in. That is going to get him the Sandow. whether or not Phil Heath is on or off, that will get him the Sandow. I mean, we're not talking about him coming in, as a middleweight. I'm just saying drop, 15, 20 pounds. It sounds like it's drastic. It's not. I've seen people drop up to 15, 20 pounds even in a 2-day period to make weight, okay? Especially in the 212, where if you are not 212 or less on that scale, I don't care if it's for a millisecond, you're not getting on stage. So your whole prep, your sponsors, everybody is going to say, what the fuck? What did you go there for? Well, you're not going to get on stage. It's okay if you're 212 for a split of a millisecond. As long as it says 212 and you're on that scale, you're okay. If you're not, you're screwed. You're not competing. Doesn't matter. No mercy, no second. No, you're not competing. So again, it really, really matters. That conditioning is key. And I know everyone's always heard the saying, you got to knock out the Mr. Olympia. Well, Big Rami's going to have to knock out the Mr. Olympia just like everybody else. And he's going to have to come in a lot more ripped and tight. He's a great poser. He's a great ambassador. Hell, I would love him to be Mr. Olympia because, he doesn't trash it up. He's always positive. He never gets dirty in the social media drama or any of that stuff. He's a humble man. His English is much, much better. Guys, let's be real here. English is the universal language. That is a language that opens doors in every continent of the world. And his English is much better. So really, it's crazy that the only thing stopping someone from being Mr. Olympia is size. But in his case, it is. He's going to have to come down in size or, he's just going to keep getting second or maybe not even second. You know what I mean? Dexter Jackson is flawless. Dexter Jackson can do it. And there have been years that I've said Dexter should retire. Dexter's getting up in age. You'll never hear me say that again because I've said that a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times, and every time I say it, I have to eat my words because he's always top 5. He always comes in shredded, peeled to the bone, poses like it's the end of his life. And let me tell you something. If anyone on that stage makes Phil Heath nervous, makes Phil Heath work, it's the Blade Dexter Jackson. So we'll see what happens at the 2018 Olympia. Again, very sad to see Juliana Malacarne retiring. Couldn't ask for a better champion. Very interesting for the future of the women's physique division, what's going to happen there. A lot of people also talk about men's physique, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on my second installment this week. But just amazing. Also, Teresa Ivanchik, host of Whatever It Takes at IronMag.com, is here at the Masters Nationals and will be taping on location her next episode. Also, Andrea Leclerc's got a fantastic interview that should be dropping probably sometime tomorrow or the next day. You definitely want to check that out. And you want to check out Beast Coast Live next week because they got another action-packed show. Also available at IronMag.com and live at Facebook.com/IronMagLabs. Again, guys, remember to log on to IronMagLabs.com. Phenomenal products. Also, MuscleGels.com, topical muscle enhancement gels. If you use my discount code IronDuke15, you'll save 15% off at checkout. And that's a really big deal, guys, because 15%, let's say you spend $100, that's $15. $230, $345. And I know that it sounds like simple math, but just think about it. You could save all that money by putting in a few letters and a couple of numbers. I mean, that's huge. Now, the Muscle Gels products are doing fantastic. The Andro Shred, let me tell you something. The Andro Shred is a 7 keto based cosmetic product, and it is absolutely amazing, guys. Absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? You want to use that on cardio, and you're going to absolutely love it. Let me tell you, you are going to love it. The Brazilian Tight. The Brazilian Tight, I get so many questions because so many women, even very, very fit women, even women that have been on the competitive stage, pregnancy does a number on women. The hormones go all over the place. The hormones go all over the place depending on also the age of the woman. If the woman is older, men or women, as you get older, dieting gets harder, but it's even harder for women. Cellulite is unsightly. A lot of women, particularly women that have competed on a stage, women that have done fitness modeling, women that have literally made their money off of how they look. When they have cellulite, when they have, post-pregnancy weight gain, and they're not able to get it removed, they're not able to do it just with cardio or just with eating, they get very frustrated. Some of them will actually not even go to the gym anymore. They'll buy cardio equipment and work out at home. It's very, very, I would say, emotionally traumatizing when your whole life you've had, a perfect physique, and now you've got, 10, 15 pounds of weight that you just cannot get off. And it's not because you're not working hard. It's not because you're not eating right. It's simply because your hormones are all out of whack. Well, Brazilian Tight is here to save the day. And if you go to MuscleGels.com and you put IronDuke15, you're going to save 15% off on Brazilian Tight. So be sure to go to MuscleGels.com. That's Muscle Gels with a Z. And also go to IronMagLabs.com. I love the pre-workout, but my favorite product is Lean Fuel Extreme. I've been working with IronMag Labs off and on since I think about 2011, and I've always been a huge fan of Lean Fuel Extreme. You will love the hell out of Lean Fuel Extreme. Version 2 right now, which is fantastic. And we also have, which I think is a fantastic product, is Dream and Grow. And if you have any kind of sleep sleep, you know what I'm saying. I forgot how to say the word. If you're having trouble sleeping, guys, you want to check out Dream and Grow. Dream and Grow is fantastic. The little green capsules, you're going to love them. You'll sleep like a baby. My biggest problem is I wake up in the middle of the night. If I see light or if my eyes like really come undone, you know what I mean? Because I feel like my eyes are sealed when I sleep, I ain't going back to sleep. Dream and Grow, I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? There could be, Tommy Lee could be outside doing a drum solo for Motley Crue, although Motley Crue's not touring anymore. That's what they say, they're done. But you know what I mean? That's probably just for 5 years. He could be hitting that gong like nonstop, you know? I'd just keep sleeping. I'm serious. And we have some samples, I believe, also. So if I know you want a sample, hit me up. But I'm telling you, Dream and Grow, it's the shit. All right, guys, this is Christian Duke, the Iron Duke Speaks. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Iron Duke Speaks here in Pittsburgh, PA for the Masters Nationals. Take care. See you next time.